Oh my gosh, I haven't done this in so long that I almost have forgotten how to do it. But I have my setup. I'm ready to go. Welcome to the start of term 4. Let's talk about the changes to Australian English language requirements. See you in a minute. Hi everyone, it's Rena from Perth IELTS and PTE Tutoring. I am finally back. I'm so sorry I could not make any videos for all of term 3 here in Western Australia because work just got in the way. And lots of things have changed. So let's start off with a few important things. On August the 7th, we have some important dates that we need to cover first. On August the 7th, 2025, PTE introduced some major changes, a mini overhaul of the exam, just brought it up to a similar standard to the other English tests. And then on September the 13th, the Australian Department of Home Affairs, also known as just immigration, the Immigration Department announced changes to English language requirements. Now, I know most of you already know this, but this is for those of you who still haven't found out exactly what you need for your visa requirements and the differences between proficient, vocational, competent English. Let's just cover it quickly. And that's it. Welcome back. I'm sorry I haven't been around. Next week onwards, I will start doing some new videos. I will definitely teach you guys how to do summarized group discussion. We will focus on that right essay question. I know a lot of you for PTE are a little bit worried, but it's finally a proper exam. Okay, it's not some bullshit template thing. I'll get to it. Anyways, let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. So what will we cover today? First of all, we'll start off with the latest English language requirements for Australian visa applicants. Now, you will find the websites all linked below because I want you to double check all the information I give you. Okay? Don't just take my word for it. Check the websites. Okay? So, first, we're going to cover changes from Department of Home Affairs. Then we're going to talk about registration for nurses and doctors and yada, 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 allied health professionals for the Australian Health Practitioners Registration Agency, APRA. Next, we're going to talk about registering yourself as a teacher here in Western Australia, what kind of English language requirements they have. Finally, a small update to the postgraduate visa applicants. You 485 guys, you've just finished your master's, you've just finished your degree, you want to stay on for another 2 years. There's a small change. And the new tests that are currently accepted. Why we have new tests, I have no idea. It's just, they say it makes it easier for you guys. It doesn't, it just makes you more confused. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, so what hasn't changed as far as the Department of Home Affairs English language requirement goes? Their definitions. Okay, their definitions of English competency levels still remain the same. It is functional, vocational, competent, proficient, and superior. An example of somebody who would need superior English is someone who's looking for 20 points for the expression of interest for permanent residence. Okay, so it is still used. Next, there are major changes to PT academic score requirements for all these levels of proficiency. Okay, the changes from PTE came into place on the 7th of August. The final changes, well, I say final, but you know what? Immigration can change its mind whenever it wants. It can do what it wants, and it does what it wants. The major changes were finalized on the 13th of September. Okay, so let's start off with the lowest level of English, which is basically entry level. You can string a few words together and have a quick chat with somebody. Functional English. Now you will notice that I will always highlight IELTS first because IELTS is the most widely accepted. Before and after August, in general, there have been no changes. So for functional English, the average band score was 4.5. No changes after August the 7th. It's still average band for 4.5. But PT academic, the minimum score of 30 is no longer required, and now PT academic overall score of 24 is required. This applies only to functional English. All the other levels of proficiency do not require an overall score. They will specify exactly what minimum scores for each skill are required. Okay, so let's move on to vocational English. As I said before, no changes for IELTS general training or academic score requirements. One skill one skill retake was accepted from the 14th of December of 2022 for certain visa types. Okay? This information is applicable later on in this tute when I talk about postgraduate visas. But so before August the 7th, 2025, band 5 minimum. After August 7th, band 5 minimum for either one of the tests, general training or academic. Okay? And as usual, one skill retake is accepted for certain, if not most, visa types. Where's the big change? In PT academic. Previously, you needed a minimum of 36 for each component. Now you have a specified value for each component. 33 for listening, 36 for reading, 29 for writing, and 24 for speaking. Let's move on to competent English, right? So this is for those of you starting university. Some of you need student visas. Usually it starts off at band 6 and moves upwards, band 7 stuff. Okay, so let's talk about competent English. As usual, one skill retake for IELTS general training and academic, minimum band 6 requirement before the 7th, and minimum band 6 requirement for each component after August the 7th. The big change came with PTE. Previously, PT academic minimum score of 50 for each component was required, and now all you need is 47 for listening, 48 for reading, 51 for writing, and 54 for speaking. Again, please note there is no overall score stated by Department of Home Affairs. Okay, you just need to meet these minimums. Let's move on to proficient English. All right, let's talk about proficient English. As usual, no changes to IELTS general training or academic. It is a band 7. To say that you are a proficient level of English, you are a IELTS band 7, whether it's general training or academic. No changes. Previously, a PTE academic minimum score of 65 for each component was required, and now that is much lower or higher based on the skill. To prove that you have proficient English, which is the equivalent of a band 7 in IELTS, you need 58 in listening, 59 in reading, 69 in writing, and here's the kicker, 76 in speaking. So it's just that little bit harder, isn't it? Oh, sorry, so my stupid microphone cut out when I was doing superior English, but let's move on to the superior English level, and then I will cut back in, if I can, to the original video. So for superior English, before August the 7th, after the August the 7th, there's no changes. IELTS general training and academic both require a band 8 for every component. So that is 8, 8, 8, 8 if you want those 20 points. But for PT academic, there has been a significant change. For PT academic previously, before August the 7th, a minimum score of 79 for each component was required to prove that you are a band 8. But now a PG academic score of 69 for listening, 70 for reading, here's where it gets really hard, 85 for writing, and 88 for speaking. That's not easy. I understand that it is very difficult, but it's where we're at, okay, folks? So let's move on. Let's move on to professional registrations. Now, what do I mean by professional registrations? To practice medicine here, to be a dentist, to be a vet, whichever. If you are a health practitioner of any sort, whether you're going through Australian Medical Council, so the AMC, or through APRA, they all boil down to the same English requirements, which are IELTS academic only, overall band 7 with a minimum band score for listening, reading, and speaking of 7. You need 7 for speaking, reading, and listening. But for writing, slightly low is okay, band 6.5 is fine. Okay, next, to be a teacher here, it is a little bit more difficult because you require, and they only accept IELTS, only IELTS. I will come to PTE for health practitioners in a second. But for the Teaching Registration Board of Western Australia, IELTS is the only test that is accepted. You need 7 for reading, 7 for writing. But for the 2 communicative skills, so listening and speaking, you need 8. So it's 8877 to be a teacher here in Australia, in Western Australia. All right? Moving on, coming back to health practitioners, which includes doctors, dentists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, nurses, whether you're registered nurse, enrolled nurses, all of you go through APRA, okay, or the Australian Medical Council. IELTS academic overall band of 7. Okay, 7 for listening, 7 for speaking, 7 for reading. But for writing, 6.5. What happens with PTE academic? You need an overall score of 66 with a minimum 66 in listening, reading, speaking. And again, with the writing, it can be a little bit lower, 56. Okay, so far so good. Those were your professional registrations. Now let's move on to the 485 visa. So let's say some of you have just finished studying here in Australia and you would like to apply for a 485 visa. Okay? Previously, one skill retake for those of you who sit for IELTS on computer was not accepted. It is now accepted. Okay? IELTS academic or general training with an overall band score of 6.5 with no less than 5.5 for writing, reading, speaking, and listening, with the one skill retake now accepted. For PT Academic, they have not quite changed things yet. It's an overall 55 with listening 40, reading 42, writing 41, and speaking 39. Now, if we go back to our competent English, it still looks like it is actually somewhere between competent and proficient. Okay, so I'm not sure what they're doing with the 485. You can double check this. I may be mistaken. If I am, please leave a comment below because this is what I understood from the website itself. Okay, finally, now let's talk about the most useless aspect here. New tests that are currently accepted. Okay? Why has the Department of Home Affairs decided that for visa purposes, not studying, not professional registration, not any other purpose, just for visa applicants, they want to accept more English tests? Maybe some of you are migrating, coming in from North America, coming into to Australia. Maybe some of you just can't seem to access IELTS test centers. I don't know what it is. All right, but I don't agree with it. I don't think this is the right way to go. Some of them are a bit dodgy. Let's talk about the three of them. There are three new tests. They are the Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program General, also known as CELPIP, CELPIP General, Language Cert Academic Test, and the MET, which is the Michigan English Test. Why on earth we are accepting these tests, I cannot explain. Okay, but good luck finding a tutor and language schools here in Australia that will deliver courses to help you prepare for these tests. Please, I don't know if anyone has any insight into why we need to do more, why we need more than the currently already accepted 5 tests, which are occupational English test, IELTS, PTE academic, TOEFL, and Cambridge English test. The rest, to me, just seems frivolous and excessive. Anyways, so there you have it, guys. I think I've summarized it as well as best as I could. You now know what the English language requirements are for each of these language levels. For your visa applications, we've covered a bit of professional registration. We've also covered the minor changes to the 485 visa. You get to do now one skill retake is accepted, which is really wonderful. And finally, the new tests that are currently being accepted. I hope this has been helpful and I hope to see you next week again because I will start pretty regularly putting out videos, at least for term 4. It looks like I do have Mondays available to make videos, so here we go. Fingers crossed I do put out something. I think I will start off with some of the new questions. So either summarize group discussion, respond to a situation for PTE, or even get straight into the right essay side of things because I know that's the most challenging for many of you. Thank you again for watching my videos. I'm sorry it has been so long and I hope to see you again soon. Bye. Make sure you double check all the information I've given you. The websites are listed below. Check it all out if you're looking to try out CELPIP or the Michigan English test. The website's below. All right, they're all the same price. They're all competitively priced. Everything's about $400 or $500. See which one suits you. Okay? Talk soon. Bye.